Welcome to this video on football players who have muttered. While we often celebrate the talents and successes of football players on the field, it is important to acknowledge that some players have also faced serious legal consequences for their actions off the field. Football, also known as the beautiful game, has seen many talented athletes excel in the sport. However, some players have been involved in serious criminal offences. For instance, in 2016, Adam Johnson, a former English international who played for Sunderland, was convicted of paedophilia. In 2012, Ched Evans, a striker for Sheffield Wednesday, was convicted of rape and served a prison sentence of almost 4 years. Despite his retrial later acquitting him of the charges, he has returned to the football field. Other players have also committed various crimes, from drunk driving to murder. A list of 10 footballers who have been involved in killing someone is provided, highlighting the unfortunate reality of criminal activity within the sport. 1. Marcos Alonso. In 2011, Marcos Alonso, who was playing for Bolton Wanderers at the time, was arrested for his involvement in a car accident in Madrid, Spain. Alonso was driving the car when it crashed into a wall, resulting in the death of a 22-year-old passenger. The accident was made worse by the fact that Alonso was driving at 122.8 km/h in a 50 km/h zone and had a blood alcohol level of 0.93 mg per liter, which was almost 3 times the legal limit in Spain. Initially, he was facing a 4-year prison sentence, but it was later reduced to 21 months. And he eventually avoided jail time altogether by paying €500,000 in an out-of-court settlement to the victim's family. Although Alonso continues to play for Barcelona in Spain, some argue that he should have faced more severe consequences for causing the tragic death of the young woman. 2. Bruno Fernandes de Souza. In 2010, Bruno Fernandes de Souza, a goalkeeper from Brazil, received a 22-year prison sentence for arranging the murder of his ex-girlfriend, Elisa Samudio. A court jury of 2 men and 5 women found the former captain of Flamengo guilty. He was also convicted of kidnapping his son and concealing the model's remains by dismembering them and feeding them to dogs. According to the police, Bruno's cousin said Samudio's body was chopped up and some parts were buried under concrete and others were fed to dogs. Typically, these actions would have resulted in a life sentence for Bruno in the outside world. Despite his heinous crimes, Bruno Fernandes de Souza was surprisingly released in February 2019 while awaiting an appeal. Adding to the outrage, the second-tier football club Boa Esporte immediately offered him a professional contract. Even after his release, Bruno showed no remorse for his actions. As reported by The Guardian, he stated, "Dude, what happened, happened. I made a mistake, a serious one. But mistakes happen in life. I'm not a bad guy. People tried to bury my dream because of one mistake, but I asked God for forgiveness, so I'm carrying on with my career. Dude, I'm starting over." It is only reasonable to expect that the Brazilian authorities and the justice system would take appropriate measures to ensure that Bruno Fernandes de Souza, the former goalkeeper of Atlético Mineiro and Flamengo, is incarcerated once again and that Elisa Samudio receives the justice she is entitled to. 3. Diego Buonanotte. Diego Buonanotte was a highly regarded young footballer who played for River Plate, a major team in Argentina. He even had the opportunity to be teammates with Lionel Messi on the Argentina national team, which won the gold medal in the 2008 Olympics. However, in December 2009, Buonanotte was involved in a tragic car accident. He was driving his father's Peugeot 307 after a night out, lost control of the car, and crashed into a tree. He was the only survivor of the accident. Despite the fact that 3 of his companions in the car died in the accident, Diego Buonanotte made a remarkable recovery and returned to playing football just 5 months later. However, after his recovery, local prosecutor Carlos Calandalia called for Buonanotte to be arrested on 3 counts of manslaughter. Despite the prosecutor's call, the charges were never followed through. Since the accident, Diego Buonanotte has had a respectable football career, playing for clubs such as Malaga, Granada, and EC Athens. Currently, he plays for Sporting Cristal in Peru. When he was asked about how he dealt with the aftermath of the accident at a later date, Buonanotte stated that he was managing to cope with it. However, he also revealed that some fans of opposing teams have directed hurtful slurs at him, calling him a murderer. 4. Patrick Kluivert. Patrick Kluivert, a famous player for Ajax and Barcelona, was greatly admired by the people of the Netherlands in his debut season with Ajax. He possessed exceptional football skills and achieved many significant victories with the Dutch team, including a remarkable win in the UEFA Champions League in 1995. In Amsterdam on September 9, 1995, Kluivert, who was 19 years old at the time and playing for Ajax, caused a car accident while driving a borrowed BMW M3 sports car that was uninsured. He collided with a Ford Orion Saloon at a speed of around 104 km height in a residential area with a speed limit of 50 km height. As a result, a 56-year-old man lost his life, and a passenger suffered severe injuries. Kluivert was the driver at the time of the accident. Despite denying his responsibility for causing death by dangerous driving, Kluivert was found guilty by the court, and his sentence was 240 hours of community service. It was later discovered that the victim of the accident, Martin Putnam, was an Ajax fan and worked as a theater director. Kluivert's conviction also caused him to require special documentation to enter the United States when his team Barcelona played preseason games there in 2003. As more information became available about the unfortunate event, a witness who was nearby at the time provided a description of the incident. He was in his friend's car and he clearly could not handle the power of it. The noise of the crash sounded like a bomb exploding. Kluivert stated that he experienced intense public scrutiny and criticism from the Dutch public, which made his life very difficult. He described it as being put through hell. "One minute I was the idol of the public, the hero of Dutch football, and the next minute they slaughtered me because of what I had done." Due to the intense public backlash and criticism he faced, Kluivert was unable to cope and decided to leave Ajax 1 year later. He joined AC Milan and went on to have a highly successful career with both Barcelona and Newcastle United. 5. Alexander Villaplane. Alexander Villaplane, a midfielder who led the French team in the 1930 World Cup, was also involved in collaborating with the Nazis and committed atrocious acts of war crimes, resulting in the direct killing of over 50 individuals throughout his life. The Frenchman of Algerian origin participated in the first season of Ligue 1, but was quickly detained for involvement in corruption and was implicated in a scandal related to fixing a horse race. In 1944, Villaplane's life took a far more sinister direction when he assumed leadership of the North African Brigade, a criminal group that cooperated with the German Nazis in their anti-resistance operations. Villaplane's legacy is largely defined by his extreme viciousness and brutality, as he was responsible for commanding the execution of 53 individuals in Musident. Following his capture in 1944, the former captain of the French national team was tried and sentenced to death, ultimately meeting his demise on December 26 of that year at the hands of a firing squad.